Hey up, welcome to the Cannon Hall Farm podcast. With us, the Nicholson brothers, farmers Rob and Dave.
We're two Yorkshire farmers who, along with our dad Roger, brother Rich and the rest of our family, have turned a farm with 2 sheds and a barn into an award-winning tourist attraction.
You've seen us on the telly, live on Facebook, and now we're here with our very own podcast.
On today's episode, we're joined by our brother Rich to talk about the memories of our summer holidays past.
Coming up.
Well, I would be 19 then, and I there's no way I was sat on that inflatable in my see-through white trunks
I can
at
clarify.
19.
I can clarify now that Richard had just started puberty. Exciting day today. We're going to talk about the summer holidays of our childhood. And wait for it, we've got brother Richard on the sofa to help us remember things.
Well, I can't honestly remember that much, but Richard is a bit older, so he should be able to fill in the gaps.
Yeah, well, I know it's not summer now, but there's some warm memories, and I think this is going to go down really well, especially if we weave in the white swimming trunk story.
Yeah, well, it wasn't that warm, but yeah, that's a funny one, Rob.
Yeah.
As long as you don't talk about me sweating, we're going to be all right.
Dare we do the swimming trunks? Do you think he'll be upset?
100%, yeah.
Yeah? We're doing it?
He'll get over it.
Right. So, what have you been up to this week, Dave?
A bit of babysitting. Yeah, had Arthur to sleep. We don't get him very often, and he was such a good little lad. Slept all the way through. Good fun having him.
Changed any nappies?
Yeah, he had a stinker.
Did he?
Yeah, I had to change it. We were all over the place. He's a right wriggler.
The problem is, once they start moving, when you're trying to get that poo bum sorted out, it can become a problem on the carpet.
He's going to be walking before you know it, and then that's going to be, a lot of fun.
Anyway, I'm glad you're enjoying being a granddad. I've been dealing with livestock most of this week, so I think we're in a good place going into the winter, and it's just a matter of making sure we've got the accommodation to keep everything warm, dry and happy.
Yeah, and we've got lots of plans for next year, perhaps even another building.
Anyway, before we give too many of our future plans away, let's invite Richard onto the couch and let's get cracking.
Sounds good to me.
Right, we're joined today by brother Richard. We're terribly, terribly excited because we're going to talk about family holidays from times gone by, and we had some brilliant holidays.
I've been thinking about it, Rob.
Yeah.
Which was your standout family holiday?
I would have to say the time that you set the fire alarm off in our bed and breakfast in Filey.
You mean when there was 6 of us in a room
Yeah.
and it was so hot, I was sweating, and you told everybody at breakfast that I set the fire alarm off.
I can see you now, David. I can see you laid now with a pool of sweat in where you're below your Adam's apple, right? Because you're right, there were nylon sheets. It was a B&B in Filey. It were £2 a night, right? It was at the budget end at job. But it's all Dad could afford. And you know what? If we'd have gone to a better place, we wouldn't be talking about it now because we wouldn't remember it.
Now, I was a quiet kid, right? Very shy, right? And you made everyone look at me and laugh at me at breakfast.
There were 2 little old ladies, like the 2 little old ladies in Faulty Towers, and Robert was convincing them that it was David that had set the fire alarm off, and they were nodding really earnestly, like.
Well, I actually believed
And
it.
there was another couple, there were a younger couple there, and they just laughed.
Yeah.
And I just thought to myself, that ain't nice.
But Rob talks like he really believes it, doesn't he?
Well, I
Every time.
do actually believe it, but we've had
We had to go outside at middle of the night, didn't we?
I can vividly remember it. We've had some good holidays, right? We used to go with Mum and Rosemary being Mum's best friend, up to being 8 or 9, something like that.
Yeah, I remember them buying some glass pheasants from a shop.
In Whitby.
Yeah, just before we came home.
Down them little side
Yeah.
Yeah,
roads.
On
and
the
there
other-
were loads of different animals, all in glass.
And they were making them.
Yeah,
They were making them in
I
front
really
of
like that
They
shop.
blew them.
They did.
They blew them.
Well, they didn't blow them because
they-
you don't blow a little glass pheasant.
No, they kind of
They
heat the
extruded
glass.
They did.
They extruded it.
That's right, yeah.
And it was very interesting, and I loved that shop.
Yeah. So Mum and Rosemary took us up to being probably 8. We used to stop for a picnic on the North Yorkshire Moors. I can see the place we stopped now. Whenever I go past it, I think about it, and and I smile warmly inside.
Was it
I
where
went
that
past
stream
it
was?
2 days ago, and I remember turning over those stones and seeing little
Yeah.
caddis flies underneath them.
Weren't there some freshwater shrimp in there as well?
Yeah, I think there were. We were very curious children, weren't we?
We like water.
They were happy, happy days, and we were very, very lucky. You know, we didn't go to Benidorm or Torremolinos or anywhere fancy like that. We went to Filey. We occasionally pushed the boat out and went to Bridlington. On occasions, we went to Morecambe.
I don't remember going
I
to
remember
Morecambe.
going to Morecambe and Mum and Dad having a row and just sitting there in the rain eating sandwiches.
Oh, dear.
Well, Mum and Dad were sort of like not talking to each other.
Oh, there's nothing worse, is there? we used to go and visit, I can remember this, Pat and Philip, right? Farming friends in the village. Rowan and Nicholas were there, and they were stopping on a campsite. I think they had a static caravan at Morecambe, I believe. I think it was Morecambe. And there was another gang of lads, and we joined one gang, and we were collecting stones, putting them in saddlebag of this bike, and then we were throwing stones at this other gang of lads.
No, they started throwing stones.
Oh, they
at us.
did, but we
Yeah.
threw them back.
Yeah, but we didn't start it.
No.
I must have missed this one.
No,
Can't you
we
remember?
got in so much
I remember
trouble.
going occasionally to that.
We
caravan
gave as good
park.
as we got, and we got the mother of all telling us from Philip.
Yeah. Oh, it were bad. Yeah.
But we're from Barnsley.
But there were sand dunes, weren't there?
Yeah.
It was quite an interesting place.
It was warfare on a very junior scale.
We could have got seriously hurt there.
I know.
I think my favourite holiday actually was when we went to Paynton
Oh,
in Devon.
100%.
Did we go for a week that one time? or-
Yeah.
And for a wee,
A week.
Oh,
a
sorry.
week, Rob. Wash your ears out.
I have got blocked ears, actually.
My dad borrowed Ron and Margaret's car
Yeah, because ours blew up.
because we thought ours wouldn't
Yeah.
make the trip, and we went down and I remember visiting like an assault course and all sorts of
There was that little village.
Model Village.
Model
Yeah,
Village,
yeah.
And we went rock pooling on a really wet day, and there's a famous family picture of me looking into a rock pool. And my dad sort of like
Shaking
thinking,
his head thinking,
what the hell am I doing here?
I remember a load of jellyfish washing up on the beach. Big ones.
Scarborough. Yeah,
No,
I
that
think-
were down there. I'm pretty sure it was
Was it?
down Peyton.
We went to Bodmin Moor, didn't we?
Where that rock is.
Yeah, near. I think we went to what is it, Jamaica Inn? Is that the same sort of place?
I think that
Could be.
is down in that part of the world.
Yeah. That was a special week. We went to stop with Auntie Pauline
Yeah.
and Uncle
We
Eric
did something every day, didn't we?
in the Dalveen Hotel.
Indeed.
Yeah.
I didn't remember that name.
Yeah.
Was that
Well,
what
I
it was
went
called?
back, didn't I, with my friends.
Yeah.
But there were some friends I wouldn't tell where that hotel was because it was my aunties. And I knew they weren't trustworthy.
No.
So I didn't tell them. And I had two friends I trusted, Nick Butcher and Ian Richards. I stopped there with them. And I wouldn't tell Phil and Mick Parkin and Brian
No.
where it was because I knew they'd trash it.
That was a wise move.
And sure enough, I was vindicated when Mick was thrown out of his hotel for mooning on the balcony. I knew it was a shrewd move.
That was a good holiday because I think that was the one. We didn't have many holidays when my mum and dad were together. As in one were
They're
looking
still
after
together?
No, one were looking after the farm, while the other one were
right,
taking
yeah.
us on holiday. I clarify that.
Yeah.
So that was nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a genuine family holiday. Wasn't
Yeah.
it? It's a good point
Probably
there.
one of the only ones I can remember.
I think the only one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think we.
Yeah.
Somebody had to stay and look after the animals, didn't
Yeah.
they?
Did we once go somewhere where we went to an outdoor swimming pool?
Yeah.
I remember this well.
Blackpool.
No, it was Scarborough.
Was it?
Yeah, they'd opened that outdoor swimming pool at
Oh,
Scarborough.
don't talk about that.
No, Rich.
Don't talk
If
about
I set my fire alarm off sweating, right, you could have this one.
Richard and his see-through swimming trunks.
Right, with Richard forgot his swimming trunks.
I didn't forget them.
I wasn't
I
going to
didn't
bring
forget
this up.
about.
I'll
I'd
tell you
just
what,
been bought a
I'll tell you
white
what
pair
this
of
was.
swimming
I'll
trunks.
tell you what this. I'll tell you how old we were. This I was like in, the last year at school. Dad took us out of school.
You mean last year at?
Penistone School? I was like that old.
I think
No,
we-
you.
It was
that
our
is
last
not-
family holiday.
Well,
as
I
it
would
with
be
my dad.
19 then,
That's
and there's
true.
no way I was
No.
sat on that inflatable in my see-through white trunks
I can
at
clarify.
19.
I can clarify now that Richard had just started puberty.
No, we went and bought
Enough.
this. Let's start
Enough.
the story from the beginning. We're in the shopping centre. Richard picks up these white trunks and my dad says, "Don't get them. They'll be see-through." Right? And Richard goes, "Yeah, but I really like them." But he says, No, don't get him. Honestly, they'll be see-through. He says, "Oh, go on then, have him." So anyway,
He's got a very precise memory.
we go down. We went down the slides.
And it was that outdoor swimming pool at Scarborough.
So it was cold as well, right? So
it wasn't the kind of temperature you want see-through trunks in, was it?
So right, we went down the slides once, got wet, come back, walk back up, right up the staircase to go down again, right? And Richard, we all looked down, and Richard's trunks were totally see-through, right? And Robert tapped this girl on the shoulder and pointed at Richard's package. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. You got mugged on with Rob for doing it. Oh God, that was such a funny
Can I
experience.
apologise now for doing that? It seemed right at the time.
Well, you're still doing it now.
On reflection, I think it was the wrong thing to do.
I'm gonna sit up in my seat again. Yeah. Oh, God, that was funny. Searching it back in my head.
So what was the outcome? Because you do remember this better than me. I can remember it, but I don't remember it in that detail.
We went back down the slides. Richard spent the rest of the time in the pool until we went home. Or he walked around covering his package. Oh, God. Anyway, any other holidays?
So that was a good one.
I thought we were going to talk about nice sort of like donuts on the cobble landing at Filey.
Well, go on then, Rich. Your turn now. What sticks out to you? No.
I've got one. I've got one for Rob.
What sticks out to you is the wrong thing to say. What do you remember most?
I remember going out sea fishing.
Oh,
with that.
Yeah.
And we were all being sick.
That was my Anos Erebus.
We were lined up on, it was a really rough day, wasn't it? There was one other person on the boat sick, but there were 3 or 4 people who weren't sick. But those old cobble boats.
What did we have for
breakfast? They didn't have used to rock, didn't they? Orange juice.
Orange juice. We had fruit juice.
Well, that's what you did in those, they sort of had a starter of orange juice and then whatever else.
Now,
I think my dad said, we were like, I don't know what we should have, it's going to be a bad day.
It was a 6-hour trip. We'd only ever gone out for 3 hours before. Yeah. This was a 6-hour trip. We were really excited. We were really into sea fishing at the time, weren't we? We were catching plaice, we were catching codlin. It was a big deal to us. And what happened?
Well,
within minutes, we were all being sick.
As soon as we got out of harbour, it started rocking. Yeah. And then we started being sick, and we must have been sick for probably 2 hours
3
at
hours.
least.
They brought us in after 3 hours because they felt sorry for us.
Oh, it were horrendous.
I think my dad would have given up Deedsted Farm to go in.
There's 2 things I remember. One was this salty old sea hand who was just
salty old
me,
sea dog,
right? And I'm laid over the thing, being sick and feeling. And I look round, and he's like that, just with his over at side at boat, having a wee. Yeah. And I always remember he held it that way.
Yeah,
not that way, that way.
But didn't the wind change then, Rob?
And I looked up, and I just thought, I can't be bothered. Next thing, right? I looked up, and my dad's been sick upwind, and it all blew down. It blew back into the boat and slapped me on the side of the face like that. And he says, I'm sorry, son. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. And I said, I don't mind, Dad. It's fine.
I don't mind, Dad. I remember that. I do remember that very precisely.
And that's how you feel when you're being grievously seasick. That is how you feel.
Yeah, you just don't care, do you?
No.
Well, that were better than Old Salty with the wind changing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Old Salty. So that was a bad one.
Yeah. Now, we all liked going in the arcades.
Yeah.
Corrigan's Arcade, Filey.
Oh.
You went outside, you could buy, was it 3 or 5 jammy donuts smothered in jam? I can't remember.
Were they racing horses or camels? Or
one is camels, one was Bridlington is horses. Yeah. I was on it week before last.
Yeah.
Did you win?
With Nelly.
Right, this is a true story. I went the week before last with Nelly, right? And when at first ball, you roll this ball up and it goes into a 3, your horse moves on significantly. Then, so first 1-3, second 1-3, third 1-3, fourth 1-3. And you know when you're going to win, don't you? Because no one can compete with that. And then I heard the bell go for the win. And I looked up and my horse wasn't winning. It was second. Nelly's had won. But the guy had just got the ball, kept dropping ball after ball into her thing to scupper me. So but it was the biggest shock of my life, that. I thought, you know, when you think you've won and you haven't.
When you competed against your grandchild.
I didn't mind.
A winner, you know. That was good. That was nice of the guy.
Yeah, it was. It was a good lad.
You thought you were doing your good turn, but you didn't realise how competitive.
No, I was happy for her.
Of course you were.
And what did she win?
Well, you get all your points, and then you go to this stall,
Yeah.
and you choose what prize you
So
want.
you've got 3,000 tickets, and then you go over and get a pen and a notepad.
But don't you think
Or a lollipop.
there's a beautiful simplicity about seaside life, about going back? We go to Saltburn, Julie and I, when we go on holiday. We go to Helmsley quite a bit. We go to Saltburn by the sea, and you go these 2p arcades, and you keep getting tickets printing out, and you save them all up, and then you cash them for a prize at the thing. I just enjoy doing it. Even when we haven't got Nelly with us, we do it. We've talked about sea fishing. We've talked about Richard's swimming trunks.
Yeah, we talk about you getting covered in sick and my
you,
sweating.
Ryan. We've talked about our only family holiday as a family to Torquay, to Paynton. The Inn on the Green was the pub down there with Auntie Pauline, Uncle Eric, Gary and Julie. You know, we got on fabulously well with them, didn't we? Really, really, really did. Gary's no longer with us, sadly. But Julie is. But that's how the world moves on, isn't it? People that you're close to don't last forever. And, yeah.
The place that I always remember is Sowerby Hall.
Oh,
You know,
good shout.
I mean, like playing golf there.
Yeah,
Little mini zoo.
yeah.
We really loved that place,
Yeah.
didn't we? You know?
It was a second home.
Can I just say, you know, the golf? I just hit it and
You weren't
just
really
go-
bothered, were you?
just hit it and that. But when Rob sliced the ball off into the rough, and he knew he wasn't going to win, right? I'm not playing anymore. I'm not playing anymore. That were it. It was such a bad loser with that.
I
Bad
admit,
loser in every aspect.
I admit to being a bad loser.
But
I want used to it.
I know, but it's a family. It's just a golf.
I know.
You know, and I remember doing crazy golf as well at Scarborough with the windmill.
Yeah.
But Sowerby is a good shout because I remember if you put 5p in one of the machines, you got a load of pigeon food, and then the pigeons will fly down and eat off your hand. I thought that was really nice.
And
The zoo manager's still there.
Yeah.
You know, the one that John Pickering,
really,
right? He's still there, still running the zoo. He used to be a 200-metre runner.
really,
Yeah.
Yeah.
He used to run for Scarborough or Hull, I think. Hull. And they used to have a cricket pitch right at the edge of the sea. There used to be a land train that took you down to Brid.
Well, I've been on that many times with Marshall, and we've played on those same
Yeah.
horse.
I can remember Craig White batting for Yorkshire in a match and hitting the ball straight out into the sea.
Really,
Did he?
Yeah, straight out into the sea.
it is right on the edge.
I've never seen anyone hit it so crisply and cleanly. But he played for England. So the Pavilion Bar, right, in Bridlington. Every year I used to take Tom and Katie, and whichever of the friends wanted to go, I used to take them for a week. Myself, just on my own. A bit like my dad used to take us. He used to stop at Auntie Maria's in Hutton Cranswick, near Driffield, and we'd go into Bridlington every day, and we carried on doing it right up to when they could drive. So it ended up where they would go off to Flamingo Land, they'd drop me off at a fishing place, and I'd go fishing all day on my own.
I thought you'd say drop you off at the pub, and you'd say,
Yeah, but once we went to the Pavilion Bar, we went in on the train, right, from Hutton Cranswick into Bridlington. Went on the train. I was having a couple of pints because I thought, well, why not? We're on the train. And then they'd gone somewhere to the slots or something like that. And then this lady came up to me and said, will you play pool with my son? Right? And I didn't really want to. It was a bit awkward. And she says, he really needs a father figure.
oh, God.
And so I text Katie quick. I said,
Was she hitting on you?
Well, if that's what it was, it felt that way. I said, get back here now and rescue me.
Our family holidays with Poppy and Anita, we used to go and visit Anita's pen friend, who she'd known from, a very young age. And she used to work for the government, so she used to move countries. So our first family holiday, we went to Sweden, and they didn't have a bath, so we bought a blow-up paddling pool, and Poppy would have a bath in that every night before she went to bed. And we saw deer in the garden. It was just outside Stockholm. Lovely place, and you could walk down to the nearest lake if you wanted, and that was kind of the touristy thing they did down there. Well, it was a really nice place.
And you've moved on from Sweden now, haven't you, Dave?
Well,
where holidays are more of a lifestyle than an event.
Well, they are, I suppose. You know, we go to La Cala in Spain, and we try and get there probably 4 times a year. I'm going for 5 days next. Last time it was 8 days. So yeah, it's a nice thing to do, because when you're here, you don't have a day off. Which is good because you're always on call. But if you want to have a break, you need to kind of go somewhere.
So David favours Spain. What about you, Rich? Where's your ideal holiday now?
Well, I love a fishing holiday. So I've been on a couple of fishing holidays to Cuba, fly fishing for big tarpon and permit and bonefish. But I finally managed to catch a tarpon after 20 years of trying, really. I caught 3 last time in Mexico. So I'm going to go back to Mexico again next year and try and catch an even bigger one, up to about 80 pounds.
Right. So David loves the Spanish sun. You love catching big fish. I like going to Helmsley in North Yorkshire 2 or 3 days at a time and going to the same pizza restaurant every night, having the same dish, a calzone with extra pepperoni. Really, really lovely. Under the best food that money can buy.
Because there's nowhere better than Yorkshire.
But there isn't. And we go on the same walk each day.
I'll tell you what, though, when you change your order, you always regret it,
Yeah.
though, don't you?
And because I know that what I'm ordering is the nicest thing I've ever had in my life. I know
Really?
that walk is the
I would have to
nicest
try
walk
that.
we've been on.
Well,
We'll
there
have
you
to, we'll
go.
have to go and try that calzone. We'll all sit around and eat a calzone each.
It blows my mind, and you cannot get in there we book weeks in advance,
Right.
Because people, person after person, walks in, kind of a table, and they just assume
Yeah.
Italian restaurant, provincial market town, we'll be able to get a table, no chance, and they just get turned away. If I was them, I'd be definitely expanding into the building next door,
But then it'd change. The dynamics would change.
Yeah.
The kitchen would change. They might not be able to keep
it won't
up
be
with
as good,
demand.
would it? Yeah.
No, so stick to what you...
When you find those restaurants that you really love, you've got to keep them going, haven't you?
Well, it's like Dad once said to me, find a job you love and you'll never work a day in your life.
You know what?
Right.
We've never worked a day in our lives.
Right, I've absolutely loved having Richard on the couch. Hopefully he didn't find it too embarrassing, and I think we've had a really nice chat there about days gone by, about warm family memories of wonderful time spent together.
Happy days, definitely. Rich?
Yeah. Except when they try to embarrass me in public like they do all the time.
That's brothers for you, Rich.
It is.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Cannon Hall Farm podcast.
If you've enjoyed this episode, make sure you follow us and leave a rating on your podcast provider.
Learn more about our story by purchasing our books, Living Our Best Lives or Springtime at Cannon Hall Farm. They're available from the farm shop or visit our website.
And we can't promise there'll be any more stories about Richard's package.
It's probably best that we leave that right there. So until the next time, I've been Farmer Rob.
I've been Farmer Dave.
See you later.
Bye-bye. That went well. Do you think he's still got them trunks?
I don't think they'd fit him now. I think he's grown a bit.
I tell you what, I might get him another pair for Christmas.
What, white ones?
Yeah, see-through.